following back there?
Yep.
Okay. You didn't lose me on the L test, did you?
Nope, I followed you.
Alright. Goal. I write a minimum of 5 goals for most every patient I do. The reason is I write one goal for prosthetic care. Okay? You will normally see, I give an example, my primary goal is patient is independent with all prosthetic care to enable safe use of the prosthesis without skin or pain issues.
You said
No. Patient
You have it on
is able to
videotape,
verbalize
it's
and
okay.
demonstrate independent prosthetic care to enable safe use of the prosthesis without pain or skin issues. So then my short-term goal might be the patient is able to demonstrate proper donning of the prosthesis and verbalizes proper cleaning. What's the difference in my verbiage there? Do you think I want to watch them clean it? So why would I say demonstrate proper cleaning? Okay? If they can tell me how they're cleaning it and the prosthesis is clean, they've met that short-term goal, guys. Okay? Be careful on how you word things, because sometimes if you write demonstrate for everything, when it's something you educated them on, but you don't really want to have them do it every single time, you can't write as demonstrate as the verb. Okay, second goal to write is a wear goal. My most common long-term goal for most patients is that they will wear their prosthesis more than 90% of their awake hours to enable function throughout their day. Where was that enabling E factor? Did you hear that? Why do I care? Unable to function all day while they're up and at it. I don't say 90% of the day because sometimes they're sleeping, guys, and no. And I stop saying my long-term goal at 12 hours or 14 hours because the awake hours differ for different people, okay? So if I start to do a percentage of their awake hours, then I'm getting where I want. Do I vary it off 90 depending on the patient? There are some patients, transmemorial, K1, K2, that I might go back to 80%. Because I know typically they're ones that are going to take it off a little earlier before bedtime. Ideally, what I'm looking for is that they wear the prosthesis when they're not in the bed or the bathtub. If they're not one of those two places, they have to lay long. That's ideally what I'm looking for. Okay? My short-term goal may be hours though. So the patient is able to tolerate wearing the prosthesis greater than 8 hours total per day. And the reason the total goes in there when we talk about wear is a lot of times I do twice a day wear. I wear it for so many hours twice a day. So I say greater than 8 hours total without skin or pain issues, limb pain issues. Okay? So balance goal, I usually set some kind of balance goal. If I've done the verb, I might have a verb goal. If I've not done the verb, it might be one of the tasks of the verb, it might be reaching, it might be standing. For an individual that's walker dependent, it might be a K1, K2 person that's walker dependent, it might be that the patient is able to perform standing ADLs with rolling walker support and the prosthesis, reaching so many inches forward, picking up items off the ground, scanning, managing pants of the managing their pants for toileting. Okay, all of those things might be my long-term or even part of my short-term goals. But typically, you're going to see one form of a balance goal in the short terms and one form of a long-term balance goal. Okay, to address those issues with these types of patients. You're then going to start to see some gait goals. Usually I will, at a minimum, write a gait goal for household and a gait goal for more community stuff. What I mean by that is my assistive devices are not always the same. Sometimes a patient with vascular condition can get to the point that they can use a cane or nothing in the house, but if they try to walk longer distances in the community with that level of upper extremity support, they're limited in how far they could go. What's more important, going the distance to get into a building or walking without a certain device? It's going the distance. If I want to be in the doctor's office, it's being able to walk from my car into the doctor's office and not have to haul the wheelchair. or get into the church. It's not as important as not having a walker or not having this or that. So I will write a household type goal, and I'll write a community goal that includes ramps, curbs, stairs. Okay, especially after I know what their home is like. If I know their home has stairs with one rail, or they have a beach house they're trying to get into, that's included in their goals. If that's what they're trying to do, I'm trying to, if I think it's realistic, I'm putting that in the goal. In addition to that, depending on the individual and their needs, I might put in there their ability to climb ladders, lift and carry items like the lady I discharged yesterday. Transtibial amputation, has a AFO, stabilizing ankle, ASO on the right other side. Her goal was came to see me, because Robin, I need to get back from the horses. I got to go with a groom ride, message on horses. Okay, you think lifting and carrying and climbing are an issue for this lady? Literally, we were picking up 25-pound boxes and carrying them around the gym for her discharge. And she was climbing on things, and she could ride on it. She goes, Robin, I'm so happy. I didn't think I would do it, but especially not this quick. I won't even see her for 5 weeks. She is bringing her own horse yesterday, walking them out the pasture, mounting and dismounting, and doing it. She's like, I'm happy. So that's what you got to know. You have to know when to write a goal about climbing, lifting, carrying, pushing, pulling, depending on what the patient tells you to do. If you want to do any extra stuff, if you think it's realistic. But again, if it's not realistic, you got to be careful on how you're wording it and not set goals, because you're not going to be able to achieve that are a problem. So you need to look at those kind of parameters and add them to your goals. You also can set goals on how long they can stand, especially if I'm returning to a job where I have to be on my feet a lot. Do you think standing tolerance is a problem? Yes. Now, if my session is only 45 minutes long, how do you think I can write that goal so that we can progress it and check it? What's up, Lord Lloyd? Thanks. The word report to verbalize it should be in there, right?
Yeah, so it says we do at home.
Right. You can say the patient verbalizes the ability to perform 3 hours of activity at doing household chores. And that's what I do. I tell them, all right, you're not going to go from where you are now back to that job on your feet for 8 hours. So your job is to find jobs around the house that need doing. Go to mom's house and clean her garage for her. Okay? Go over to mom's house or dad's house and paint their spare bedroom. And look at how long you're standing on your feet. And you have to sit down, start figuring out how long you made it and how we can, and we'll talk about how to get it more and increase it. But my goal would not be that I see them stand for 3 hours, because they're not in my gym. And I'm not going to have them stand in the corner like this for 3 hours while I treat other people. Okay? And I think my boss would have a problem if I gave them the Windex bottle and had them crank on our walls for us. My boss would be having a fit with me if I'm treating other patients while they're cleaning up our gym for us. But in all seriousness, a lot of times when I'm writing a goal like that, I will include it if it's something they need, but I'll write it as a report or verbalization style. I won't put it as me observing it. Okay, education. It starts day one. Does anybody have any bit of doubt on that? Even during the evaluation, if all I do is evaluate them and tell them nothing, do you think they're going to go home and put this new Christmas toy of this prosthesis they've been waiting for in the corner and wait for their second PT session? No. And if you don't teach them at least some basic preliminary information while you're doing your evaluation, you are going to have some problems, okay? You don't know how many patients come see me that have a wound because they put that leg on and they couldn't get in to see me for a week or two. and they ended up with something going wrong. So you need to start day one. One is residual limb care, cleaning the prosthesis. We're going over all these things, how to put it on, how to sit with it. That's like posture and sitting posture type of stuff. What the wear schedule should be, how to press the weight bearing on it, how to adjust the socks, and some advanced issues, and even possibly setting up a peer visit. Okay, residual limb care. You need to actually clean the leg with soap and water. And yes, touching your leg is good, guys. It's not going to hurt. It's not going to fall apart. You actually wash your leg. If I had dry, flaky skin on my foot, would I wash it and scrub it hard enough to get it off? Yes, do that for your limb. You'd be surprised how many times I get a towel, I wet half of it, and I scrub somebody's leg, take the other half and dry it, and how much better it looks. And the patient's like, wow, but you can do this, guys. This was not rocket science. Make sure they know that to do that. Okay? Use lotion for dry skin, but don't use lotion during the day because it actually blocks their pores and makes the sweating issue associated with prosthetics worse. Okay? So what you tell them to do is put it on at night and wash it off in the morning when they get up for any dry skin. But they do need to manage the dry skin because dry skin breaks down easier under pressure. Okay? They need to wear the shrinker. They think a lot of times, oh, I'm done with that shrinker, those compression wraps. No. You need to wear it at all times you're not wearing the prosthesis. Okay? Once we stabilize in getting your prosthesis on all your awake hours, or most of your awake hours, and we stabilize out how many your socks are going. Now, with the first one, it's not uncommon, let's say the prosthesis put pads in there and you're wearing 5 ply first thing in the morning, and after you've been on it a couple hours, you go up to like a 7 ply. But it's the same story every day. Okay? You can go overnight without the compression wrap, and if you're within 1 ply of what you did for like the last several days of that 5-7 in my example, you're within 1 ply of that, you're okay to probably go without the shrinker sock as long as you don't have phantom pain. If you have the onset of phantom pain, go back to wearing that compression sock because it could be part of what's helping to control that phantom pain. Okay? If you have fluctuating edema, like dialysis, congestive heart failure, it is permanent that you should be wearing the compression garment, whether it's wraps or a shrinker, at all times you're not wearing the prosthesis. Make sure they know it's one or the other. People put the shrinker on, put the prosthesis on top of it. It doesn't work well, guys. And that you can tell that, but if you don't tell them, they still are going to do those things. So make sure they understand that they still should be wearing that shrinker sock or that compression wrap at all times they're not wearing the prosthesis. So if we talk about twice a day wear, which we are going to talk about, that means to put the shrinker sock on between it. I wear the prosthesis whatever time I say, shrinker sock, wear the prosthesis again, and then put the shrinker sock back on. They should have at least, if they're wearing shrinkers, 2 shrinker socks to be rotating between them at least every 2 days. Okay, cleaning the prosthesis. Yes, it doesn't clean itself, guys. Alright. If you have, I'll come back, you don't have to follow me. I'll bring it over there in front of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, don't follow me over here. I'm coming back. I'm back.
Nice.
Alright. The liner, what's against their skin needs to be cleaned nightly. Okay? So any belts or anything like that should be wiped off with a sandy wipe or a cloth on the inside. These gel liners, they want to, when they take them off, they'll be inside out anyways. The gel side that's against their skin is the most important part to clean nightly. So you want to soak your hands up with some antibacterial soap, or even some people recommend dish detergent. not a harsh chemical, but you want, while your hands are sudsing, you're going to scrub any dead skin, hair, oil off of this side of the liner, okay? The pin is stainless steel and shouldn't rust. I've had one in the 20 years we've been using these systems rust, okay? And the process just replaced it, okay? Stick it under the faucet or the running water and rinse all the soap off of it. If you leave soaps come on it, that can actually block the pores and cause some acne look to their leg. When they're done, they don't want to store it like this, because it is going to pick up every piece of dust, dirt, grime on that, okay? And so when they store it, they put it back like this on a stand. If they put it on like an old wine bottle or something, make sure they take the label off, because the ink will absorb into the oil material, okay? So make sure it's on something that lets it get air up underneath it, okay? Once a week, I recommend that they clean the cloth side. Clean it like you would a hand wash shirt. Put a little wool white in some cold water, or something white. Wool white doesn't have to be brand name, guys. And water, and scrub this side and clean it just like you would a wool white shirt, a hand wash shirt. If you don't clean the outside, it gets stained, like this one that was donated to my cause, because I need to show you those things. Okay? That's my cause. You need to keep it on a regular basis. And most people you will see when they come in, look, you look well kept. I don't think you want to look unkept, because your liner is really stained and dirty and grimy looking. So once a week you need to clean the cloth side regularly. Okay? So any part that's in contact with them, you do want to wipe it down. You can take the socket, the pin lock system at the bottom of the socket will rust, so you don't want to run water down in it a lot of times. What you want to do is to wipe it out with a sandy wipe or an alcohol wipe, and just get any germs kind of off while you're wiping it down. Okay? Alright, that's the gist of cleaning. Alright, Donnie. Yes. Nightly is ideal. Just to wipe it out with a wipe, some kind of sandy wipe. It doesn't take a lot. It's a simple wipe down to keep it clean and fill it dry. Okay. If we're donning a liner with a gel liner like I have in my hand, and a shuttle pin lock system in it, the pin lock, you want to invert the liner. Okay? So when the liner is inverted, you want to actually pinch the pin in the middle of the liner, so I know where it is. If I hold this loose, I don't know where the pin is for real, okay? And it is very frustrating to have to put this on 4 or 5 times to get the pin straight. So if I can start to learn where the pin is and control the pin location when I'm first touching the liner to my lens, it controls the location. So the other thing it does is this needs to be completely inside out. If I don't have it out inside out and I put this on and leave an air pocket between their rim and the bottom of this, it can cause a blister. So for 2 reasons you want to pinch the end of this down is to keep it inverted completely and to control the location of that pin. I know where I'm putting that pin based on when I have it locked, okay? So what you wanted is the pin should be an extension of the tibia. So I'm putting it there in line with the tibia, and then push this down on it, please. So once I get it on there, then you're going to roll it up completely. Make sure when you cross the knee, they extend the knee, because if you get creases in this rubber, it can cause welts on the skin. And that's the most common if their knees bent, and a lot of times they'll have wrinkles in it. But once they roll it up, I have them go back and feel there's no wrinkle. If there's a wrinkle, you can't pull it out like this. You have to go back and roll it down to the wrinkle area. Get rid of the wrinkle and then roll it back up. Okay? You cannot. You cannot take care of it once it's already on. But wrinkles cause welts, which cause skin problems. If you see a blister or a welt in a linear pattern, it's probably a wrinkle in the liner. If you see a circular pattern, it's probably an air pocket or a blister or something like that. Okay, if I'm going to wear socks because I've shrunk, you now put the socks over the top of this. I'm coming back.
It's okay. I got this one.
Alright, I'm back. Okay. If I'm putting socks on this, and obviously I'm one-handed here right now since I got this on me, so I'm going to take my hand out. The easiest thing is to gather this up. Alright, gather it up. I swear to God, oh, this one doesn't have a hole in it. That's no problem. Grab one got a hole. Usually there's a hole in it, and I'm not going back over there. You pull it up and you make sure it's flush with to the bottom of this, because if you leave it bunched, the sock will slide down and get caught between the pin and the lock, which will jam the lock. So you need to make sure it's pulled up all the way flush with the bottom of the liner when you put them on. But we're going to talk about ply sock adjustment in a minute. Okay, so once you get your ply socks on, now you want to have the patient scoot to the front of the chair. So I need you to pan over here, because I got to sit down up here instead of sitting in the way like. Okay, right now if I need to push my knee towards the ground, I can't because I'm hitting the back of my chair. Okay, so next thing you want to do is have them scoot out enough that I can actually push my knee up and down. Then you want to take the prosthesis, and you're trying to think of the lock system as a tube, not as a hole in the bottom. I need this pin and that tube at the same angle to slide together. So you actually put the foot back on the heel and then push your knee down into it. Don't pull the prosthesis on. You literally sit the heel on the ground. And the reason I'm not like this, because if the tube is like this and the pin is like this, do you think they're going to slide together easy? Okay, so if I tilt the tube, or by putting the foot out on like this, and the tube and the pin are at the same angle, you see how they'll slide and catch. Okay, as we saw in the gait plasticity, make sure the pin is actually caught, because if it flicks to the bottom of it, it may sound like it caught, but if it doesn't catch, you're going to have trouble with the prosthesis being suspended and it could potentially fall off. Okay, so you need to make sure you take a second and push on the sides of the wall, and make sure that the leg did catch and it's on it. Okay. All right. Now, Velcro strap suspensions. All right, where are we over here, my friends? Okay. If I am using a prosthesis with a silicone liner and a Velcro strap suspension, most of the time these are cut such that the inner part by the groin is lower than the lateral part up by the walls. Okay? So you're going to invert this the same way we did the pin lock, and make sure it's completely inverted so we don't have an air pocket in the bottom. We're going to fold it where the inner part is lined up. Okay? A lot of times prosthetists will cut it where this line is either on the outside, like a pant one, or coming straight up the front. So a lot of times if they have this little seam that you can see through it, you can start to tell the patient where their seam should align, because that puts the strap where it should. So if I turn this inside out, lining it up by how they have this one cut, okay, I would roll it on, okay? Ideally, when I get it rolled on completely up, again, no wrinkles, I feel and make sure there's no wrinkles in it. This is going to be in my groin, okay? And this is going to be up higher out here, okay? At that point, I put any socks on that I'm going to put on. There's a hole in the socks, and you feed the strap through it, okay? And pull the socks up snug, okay? Now, there's no way with this system to get this strap tight and sitting, okay? So and you can't see. So what that patient's going to have to do is pinch it about an inch back. Make sure it's not twisted. You see how I know it's not twisted? Okay? And you're actually going to feel for the hole and poke the strap out of the hole and then grab it. Okay? You're going to tighten it up as tight as you can and sitting. Okay? You want to make sure you have at least an inch or two of overlap of the rough and soft Velcro. Here's soft Velcro, here's rough Velcro. If I actually only hold it on this much and I go to stand up, see what can happen? Okay, so I need to make sure I pull it enough that I get at least an inch or two of overlap. Okay, I want it as snug as possible, but a minimum is to get the two overlap some. Okay, it is impossible to get these tight and sitting. Okay, all right. When this patient stands up, okay, they're going to extend it, and we'll talk about how to stand up in a minute. But they're going to stand up, and the first thing you have them do is it's kind of like you wiggling into a shoe. Just kind of see if you can't put it. Hold on to the walker, and I just kind of put a little weight on it and try and wiggle it into the shoe. I want to, at this point, pull the strap out of the hole as much as it will. Now that my limb is seated down in it, I should have some slack in the strap. So I pull it out and tighten it up as much as it will. Now you're not going to tighten it by pulling off of this D-ring, because if you do over time, what I mean by that, if I'm down here and I stood up and went squiggling into it, if I try to crank it by tugging it out of the hole off of the D-ring, with time these D-rings start to break and fail. So you want to get them pulling it out of the hole first, then pulling tight, and you can pull down on the D-ring. You don't want to leverage it out of the hole by the D-ring, in other words. So the first thing you do is stand up, wiggle, try and push it in. The next thing you have them do is, holding on to support, you have them pick up their sound side so that they put weight on it about 5 times. Pull it out of the hole, and then tighten the strap a little more. And then you have them step the sound side back and forth about 5 times and try it one more time. I encourage patients, because when they walk, if their limb settles deeper, it makes the strap loose. It causes some pistoning and causes some problems with it, okay? So I encourage them to go, every time they're in the bathroom, when they have never tightened the strap and sitting, once you get it tight. Once you think it's on there tight, don't sit down, oh, let me tighten this strap up. No, you just loosen it when your limb's not down in there, okay? So have them learn to tighten it only in standing with weight on the prosthesis, okay? So when they go in and the reason I say the bathroom is their pants are already down, so they can get access to it and take care of it easier. And it is the most common place that we drop our pants, okay? So what I have them do is go to the bathroom. When they're done, stand up. Before they pull their pants up, check the strap and make sure it's tight. Then pull your pants up and go wash your hands. Yes?
So what is the advantage of using this versus like a thin?
Above or below? Above? Okay, I'm trying to make sure where we are here. Transmemorials, I do not particularly like pins. You can use a pin with them, but typically when they start to shrink, they don't stop rotation. That strap controls a little bit of the rotation that naturally happens in a transmemorial, especially females with larger, fleshy skin. Okay, so we say a lot more adipose tissue. You're going to get, as soon as you get any shrinkage, you're going to get more rotation, and the pin doesn't stop the socket from rotating on the limb real well, and the liner, Velcro liner does. So it actually holds one. Also, if you're a long residual limb, the pin adds distance between the end of the socket and the knee. So you can misalign the knee by having to have that extra space. Okay? And I have found that I have patients who ride with pins and we have to convert it to the strap. Sometimes because they're inconsistent with getting down there enough to engage the pin. They really can't even get down in it to get the pin to engage and put the strap on and it goes every time. It's, you don't want to use the suction rings on the first one because of the maximal shrinkage we talked about in a temporary. So ideally, going with something like that Velcro lanyard allows it to get up, mature them, so they shrink to the point they can then go to the suction ring on the second leg and love it, or the socket revision. Okay, but I'm not a huge fan of, if they do it, but I'm not a fan of the pin on transfer oils. I am on transfer. All right. Oh, one thing I did not say on that is with transfer oils that wear socks, whether it's that suspension or any of the socks, if you actually take the sock and fold it over the top of the prosthesis, so kind of wrap it over the entire way around the sock, top of the socket, it keeps the socks from migrating in. If you don't do that, sometimes they're straight up. When they start to move, they kind of bunches up in the socket like a loose sock would in your shoe, and it's irritating. So if they fold it completely over the top, it can help decrease the chance of the sock bunching up inside the socket. Okay. If someone has a Salesian belt, okay, let's say I'm wearing this with a sock interface, okay, I would put the socks against my skin, pull them up with no wrinkles. When I'm sitting, I would probably go ahead and lap it over, okay? I would put the Salesian, this is a left leg, I would put the Salesian belt around the waist. This one's a little bit weird, but I would actually put this Salesian belt, okay, around my waist while I'm sitting, okay? And I don't think I'm going to be able to do this without it being on me. So this is going around me, and I go ahead and hook it, but I don't pull it really tight because I will misalign the prosthesis. Okay? So I get everything hooked where it's going to go, but loose. I stand up. I make sure that the foot is, my hips, my ASIS are facing forward, or as I tell my patients, the headlights. Don't let those be back like this when I sink down into it, because it will, when I go to walk, I will be internally rotated. So my ASIS are facing forward, the prosthesis is slightly toed out, and the knee is slightly out. Remember, we tell the patient that, because otherwise they may think it should be facing forward. They don't know it should be. I put weight on the prosthesis on a flat foot, not on the heel. I don't have it out like this on the heel and try to tighten it, okay? I need to keep weight on a flat foot so it won't rotate. I take the slack out of the belt from the back, bring it over the top of my iliac, contralateral iliac crest, and tighten down that major suspension strap, okay? Which is usually the fatter strap. If there's a secondary strap like this one has, a lot of times the secondary strap is about keeping this up on my iliac crest. The secondary thinner strap should be tightened just enough to keep a pair of pants up that are one size too big. The primary suspension strap should be as tight as you get it. But remember, you're weight bearing on it in the proper position, and I tighten it up as tight as I can get it. Same thing with the test belt. I'm still Velcroing, but I'm tightening it up as tight as I can get it over that iliac crest, okay? If there is a secondary belt, you pull it just tight enough to keep that up on my iliac crest, because that contralateral iliac crest is what suspends it for you. Gel ring climbers. If you're using one of the ones with the gel ring like you saw Rodney with, okay, a lot of times you can use the pull back, but most patients are going to take something that actually dries. Hand sanitizer is wonderful. If you rub it, roll the ring on. If you're having trouble rolling the ring on, rolling the liner on because the ring is catching, stick your hand down there with some hand sanitizer and lubricate the ring, and it will make the liner roll on easier. Because if the rubber is grabbing, sometimes it's awkward. So just lubricating it enough to get it up on you. And again, there's usually a cut. Put the lower part there and the higher part lateral. Okay? Take, and right before you go to get up, you put some hand sanitizer around the ring. If it's still in your hand, you can wipe it on the inside of the socket. stand up and put pressure on it and let the air push it out. When I first get up, the valve in these are a one-way valve. If you're not pushing it, that only lets air out. Okay? So as I stand up, put weight on it, the air compresses out. But if I want to sink deeper, which I need to get all the way down in it, if I push it while I got weight on it, push the button in the middle, right here. Okay, if I push it and hold it, it opens it up and lets a larger amount of air escape, but it also lets air in if I take the weight off of my prosthesis. So if I'm to put weight on it and push down on this left side, let go of the valve, and then take the weight off, it will secure it better. Because you get let a little more air, you get deeper down in it. Okay? But what I don't want to do is push the button, lean over here, take the weight off of it, because then I just let all that air back in. If you really need to, these unscrew, and you can unscrew them and take it off and actually let a lot of air out, but then you just got to put it back on. Some people, a lot of times with this type of suspension, when they sit down, they actually, their limb, when it's relaxed, lets a little air in there, so when they get up, you'll see them reach down there with weight on it, push the button, and then take off. Especially sitting in the car where it might change a little bit, it's a good one. If you are using socks with a suction ring, you're what I call toeless, and you actually want to bring the sock down to just above the ring, and you can tuck it under if you need to, but you shouldn't cross the ring with any socks because you actually break the suction seal of it. And don't lubricate it with something. I had a patient trying to help her. She actually lubricated it with a A&D ointment or something like that somebody told her to lubricate it with. She went to Myrtle with her family. She stepped down off the curb. The entire prosthesis fell off because the ring was lubricated. And she fell. Her femur went through her distal residual limb, broke her hip. They were going to amputate the rooted hip. She was already a short limb. And she was like, no. She paid $800 personally to be transported via ambulance back to Greensboro from Myrtle Beach so that her physician could save her residual limb for the hip replacement. True story. All because she lubricated the suction ring. The leg fell off and she was coming down the curb.
That's a cheap ambulance ride.
Yeah.
$800?
I was surprised. They made her have her, she called her mom, who was in Greensboro. She's a pregnant woman, but her mother is in Greensboro, and she calls her mom and says, meet me at the hospital with my checkbook. The ambulance would not transport her without a personal check
Wow.
on arrival to the destination.
Seems a little suspect. Was this before or after they were privatized ambulance? Like
I don't know when they were privatized, so I can't answer that. This was about
Well,
4
this-
years ago.
Okay.
4 or 5 years ago.
It's just a little weird.
Okay? The whole thing. If someone has direct skin suction, they're going to use a full bag like Raji did. You know how Raji put the bag on? Just imagine the liner wasn't there. They put it on their limb, and they feed that kind of bag or a full system. It can be different kinds of socks. And basically, you pump weight on it, take it off, pull the sock out, pump, and your limb's going down in as the bag pulls you deeper. And the goal is, if this is the suction ring, you should see their limb almost poking through it to the point that you think you're going to pinch their skin to screw the thing back in. If they're like this, and there's gapping at the bottom of the hole, they're not all the way down in it. Especially with suction. If you don't have direct contact, not high pressure, but contact with the distal socket, you will get a milking of the system. It's like a severe hickey called Verrucous hyperplasia. It looks like warts and a hickey combined, and it's hard to recover from. Okay, but it's what happens when you don't have direct contact and you have a suction system in there of some sort. Sitting down. Both. I don't here, if you're sitting with a transfemoral or transtibial amputation, let's see if I can come up back on my leg. Oh, not low, sit the floor. That's just higher. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna have fun here. This.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so if this is my prosthesis, I can't have it dangling like this. The weight of my prosthesis hanging like this, it's catching in my skin, and it actually fulcrums over the end of that bone and makes the end of the bone, if I'm transtibial, hurt. If I'm transfemoral, it does the same thing and fulcrums over the end of the femur. Sitting around for long periods of time, I tell them 5 to 10 minutes on the back well, it's not a problem, but sitting for long periods without the foot at least supported will actually make your limb sore. So you need to at least have the heel in contact with the ground. So if right now is uncomfortable with me flexing my knee to a flat foot as transtibial, you don't have to flex your knee that far, but you at least need the heel resting on a footstool, a footrest on the wheelchair, or the ground. Okay? With a transfemoral, if they're in a wheelchair, they need the footrest on the prosthetic side. If you do not want somebody pushing them and they're holding their foot up, now remember, I've got this prosthesis attached to me with a lanyard or wherever. Okay? I'm pushing and all of a sudden my foot hits the ground. What do you think is going to happen? They're going out of that chair if the person pushing them is still going because they just hit the brakes. Worse than a skateboard hitting a rock. Boom. Okay, and it causes problems. So if they have a transfemoral amputation, they must, and they're in the wheelchair, they must have the footrest on the side of the prosthesis, okay, in order to not get hurt with moving it. One thing that's not on this slide on sitting pool. All right, good, sit. Okay. One thing I do with transfemoral amputations now, when they sit, if I have a prosthesis on my right side, okay, my right hip is typically sitting higher. So if I have a prosthesis over here, my right iliac crest is higher than my left and sitting. This is going to lead to back pain. If I sat like this for an hour or two watching a movie, do you think my back would hurt? Okay, so what I have them do is fold towels or take a throw pillow and put it under the contralateral iliac crest and thigh to level their pelvis. They're looking to level their pelvis when they're sitting somewhere in the car, their computer chair, their favorite chair in the house. They're going to be somewhere more than about 10 minutes to find something to level the pelvis when they're sitting so that it helps their back. So transfemoral, I don't do that with transtibials, but I do with transfemoral. Try to get them to use folded towels and things under the contralateral side to level the pelvis and sitting. All right, where? And then we'll take another 10-minute break. The goal here, again, is to wear your leg more than 90% of their awake hours. One thing you do need to look at is that they're spending more time in bed than they used to. I tell patients all the time, I'm not trying to change you and make you a different person. If you used to sleep only 8 hours a night, I'm trying to get you back to that, okay? I'm not trying to make you a morning person if you're not a morning person or a night owl. I'm trying to get life back to normal for you, okay? So if you're spending more time in the bed, whether it's depression or whatever, we're trying to get them to start getting out of the bed back to their normal routine, okay? So that's in addition to it, okay? The two issues you're going to have with increasing the wear time on the prosthesis for someone initially is, one, these materials don't breathe, and skin integrity and sweat are a problem. The other is we're taking pressure in parts of my leg that I don't typically take pressure. So I got to build up a tolerance to the new pressures. Now, the first thing, there are two big things you need to look at. What does their initial skin look like? Am I concerned that it looks really questionable for breakdown? dry, fragile looking? What does the skin look like? Are there any wounds present? What's going on here? Okay. Second thing is, do I have vascular issues? And yes, I consider a person with a diabetic who broke their ankle and ended up with an amputation because they couldn't deal with a fracture, still a diabetic, a vascular patient. Okay, so if they have vascular conditions, that is taken into account of how rapidly I increase the weight. Typically what I do is I start most patients 2 hours twice a day. If they've already had the leg a while and they've been wearing it, I take into account how long they're wearing and what their skin looks like, okay, and vary it. But I do twice a day because one of the issues is that sweating environment. So I can get more time total and give it a break so it's not so sweaty and wet if I do twice a day than one long period. So typically what I do is start at 2 hours twice a day. If the patient has no issues, their skin looks wonderful, they're not vascular, they look great. It's a trauma, whatever, and their skin looks wonderful. That patient I will probably increase every 3 days or twice a week. Okay? I will go up in their wear time that quickly. And I'll talk about 2 reasons not to increase at any point, but if they're non-vascular and their skin looks good, okay, I actually will increase it every 3 days or about twice a week. If they are vascular but do not have any skin issues, their skin looks pretty good but they have a vascular history, I'm not increasing it any sooner than every 5 days. The limit's 5 days. If they are vascular and or they have skin issues that I am concerned about, the quickest I will do is 7 days, but it depends on what I'm seeing. If I'm seeing the wound or the skin get worse, I'm not going up and I may be taking the prosthesis off. Okay? Are we good? Okay. What I do at that point, there are 2 questions I ask when the time is ready to consider going up. 1, what does their skin still look like? Do I have some skin issues starting? Something going on? Have they gotten a blister? Am I getting a heat rash? Is the skin still looking okay? Okay? That's the first question. Second question is, does it hurt? There is a difference between pressure and pain. Okay? You will take pressure on parts of your leg that you have never taken pressure on. That is not what we're talking about. I am talking about my leg hurts. Have any of you ever worn a pair of shoes and your feet were killing you by the time you got home? And if I'd asked you to put that pair of shoes back on to go out tonight, you better be going to a very good restaurant because you are not putting that pair of shoes back on. All right? That's kind of limb pain I'm talking about. So they're rolling these liners on and cringing and their leg is hurting. You are not ready to go up. We don't go up even though the time's there. But if there are no skin issues and there are no pain issues, you actually can go up an hour. So I would go to 2 hours twice a day, 3 hours twice a day, 4 hours twice a day. You see where I'm going with this, ladies and gentlemen? We get up until we run the times together. As the time increases, we will be drying it for sweat. When I get over about 4 hours twice a day, I ask them to take it off at the midpoint of that and dry it automatically. Or if one of the signs of sweating that we're going to talk about after the break are present, to dry it then too. Okay? But one of the things you can do is if you can get the water or sweat out of there, you can still increase the wear without taking it off. So if I wear it 5 hours twice a day, and I dry it halfway and put it right back on and don't let it cool off. I'm still getting used to the heat of the environment, getting used to the system, but I don't leave the water in there to cause my skin problems, which is one of the primary things that causes that skin breakdown, okay? And that's how we end up progressing it to all-day wear, okay? All right, let's take a 10-minute break, and we'll come back and talk about sweat.